I used to come home late at night after a long 10-hour shift and immediately sit down in my room and play video games for 5, 6 hours, and I used to go to bed maybe 3 a.m. Here is the system that helped me to stop wasting time without quitting video games cold turkey. One out of 5 steps would be to use a kitchen timer or a stopwatch function, either count up to an hour or count down to an hour. Either one is fine. Both of them I implement just depending on my mood, to be honest. And the reason for this is when you do this, the goal is to be strict on yourself, but not too strict to the point where you are stressed out. Understand that you have a time limit for fun. Also, you need to be productive in some sort of manner, otherwise your life is going to crumble apart the older you get. Sad, but true. Now, I recommend an hour for this. This is mainly because this is what I normally do, and an hour is the maximum that I recommend for pretty much anybody. An hour is not too much, an hour is not too little. I find it the perfect sweet spot. Now, there are some days where you won't be able to play for a full hour. That happens to me sometimes due to simply having responsibilities, but understand that there are always a next day that you can go and play a game. You still have weekends, you still have the next day, you still have the next week or month, whatever your case may be. I recommend story-based games, mainly because you can start and stop it pretty much whenever. You have checkpoints, all this sort of stuff. So as long as you're sticking to the hour sort of framework, then you're pretty much solid. Don't be too harsh on yourself if you go a little bit over. Now, part 2 would be gaming isn't real, but real life is obviously real. I understand that we all want to stay kids. I get it, I don't want to be responsible, but eventually we grow up. But we use gaming as a way to escape from our problems. I get it, because I've been there and done that myself. I still do that sometimes as a 28-year-old. But the brutal truth is that no one wants to say that it's a band-aid solution to your problems, because it is fictional. For example, I was broke when I was growing up, and I used to use gaming to avoid the financial burden that we were sort of in during my growing up sort of stages, and I didn't know a way to get out of it because I had no clear path. Now, this led me to not being able to find a better job, or even a job in the first place, or being comfortable with the one that I had, which is why I diverted to video games after work. It didn't really matter if I was happy or not, but I used it as a reason to not increase my own skill level and maybe move on from company, maybe move on to a different field. If I had not driven into video games for 5-6 hours a day just to have a band-aid solution, maybe my life would have turned out differently. What has already happened has happened. The earlier that you realize this, the easier your life will be, especially if you're a fresh adult, like 18 or even in your early 20s. I realized this later when I was around 24 years old. If you're younger than that, then take a hard look at yourself and ask yourself, am I using gaming as a coping mechanism to avoid things that I need to get out of in that situation? For example, if you don't really have anything, then I recommend these 3, which is go to the gym, get a job, and build skills. Gaming guilt is a real thing, and I've experienced it many times. I still experience it to this day, so I get it. It's a pretty much normal feeling. And the reason it happens is because you game instead of doing what you know in your brain that you should be doing. For example, you know that you should be going to the gym today for an hour, but instead you spend your whole day playing a video game just because of the simple fact that you don't want to stop, because it's fun. I get it. But this is not good. And this is why having something like a stopwatch or timer, like I mentioned in the step earlier, it helps you control the time that is around you, because when you play video games, honestly, time goes super duper fast. An hour feels like 5 minutes. I get it. However, gaming is like anything else, in my opinion, where we use it as a way to sort of, decompress, de-stress, and just relax. It's the same as having Netflix on your phone, watching a TV show, doom scrolling, anything like that. It's a coping mechanism at the end of the day. It's a form of relaxation that only it's acceptable if you have done everything you need to do for the day. For me, personally, it is go to my job, spend an hour at the gym, work on content for you guys, eat all my food correctly, and I only do about 4 things per day. I just do these 4, and after that, I'm pretty much knackered for the day. I just simply go to bed. Part 4 is playing games at the end of the day, not before anything is complete. I used to do this all the time when I was younger. I would play video games after work or school when I was a teenager. Then I would try getting into doing something important, whether it be homework, going to the gym, whatever it may be. Basically, it didn't work because video games is too fun. Quite simply, dopamine, happy chemicals in your brain, it's gonna screw with you. It's gonna take over no matter what. So what you should be doing to counter this every day is do everything that is required or is important to you before you play video games. This includes for things like laundry, cooking, eating, cleaning, etc. Whatever you need to do first, do that first, then play games. Because I guarantee you, if you play games first, your brain will just naturally want to have the cheap dopamine, play the game, and not do the things like laundry. Then by the end of the day, you're just gonna feel complete garbage about yourself. Now, if you want to take a screenshot of this or just Google it, video games and mental health, it can be good, it can be bad. There are 2 sides of the same coin. Finally, part 5 is use friction to stop yourself from gaming too early. And this sort of ties in with number 4, as well as using the stopwatch mechanism. Gaming is extremely easy to do, especially if it's right in front of you. For example, if you got mobile games on your phone, it's very easy just to whip out your phone and start playing Clash of Clans or whatever it may be. Put barriers in place, and it makes it a million times easier to not just hop on a video game just because you're a little bit bored. Instead of working out, I could just simply work out at home, and it's good because I get to save time, but bad because I know I'm not going to do it because it's so much easier for me just neglect it, pass it on, instead of going to the gym. Whereas I go to the gym, I literally can't play a video game because 1, I'm paying for it, 2, there's nothing at a gym for me to play, so it's good. I also have a gaming PC, but right now it's currently dead. The motherboard is screwed up, so currently I have a gaming laptop, but I do not have a single game installed on my gaming laptop. It would be way too easy for me just to boot it up, hop on, and just don't make this content for you guys. And the other way around this is you can create 2 different logins. You can make one for work and one for pretty much play. And the one that is work has work related stuff. That's it, no video games. The other account has video games and no work. So you can jump between the 2, but only when necessary. Another big one that I see all the time is I see a lot of people install mobile games. I think mobile games are the most addictive type of games that are pretty much out there, mainly because you have fake money and tiny expenses like gems, for example, Clash of Clans, and you spend $1 here, $3 there. It doesn't seem much, but it all adds up at the end of the month. I personally know someone who's spent $1 here, $1 there, and over time it's been over $1,000 in just gems for Clash of Clans, and that really adds up. So mobile games, just don't ever play them. They are super addictive. Just simply don't have them on your phone. For console gamers out there, I do these 2 things. I either put it away in a physical location like storage, or I unplug my HDMI cable and put it in a spot where I literally have to jump over the table to go and grab it because it's in such a awkward spot. Now, it's annoying, so I don't really want to do it, quite simply. And it's too difficult because if it's too hard, your brain just won't want to do it, even if it's for doing a fun thing. Like, this is basic chemical analogy in your brain. Freud's pleasure principle, which is the pleasure and pain chemical in your brain, and the definition of it is the pleasure principle, according to Sigmund Freud, refers to the institutional drive in humans to seek pleasure and avoid pain in order to fulfill a biological and psychological need. It is a central concept in the psychoanalysis that explores the pursuit of immediate gratification and avoidance of discomfort. In a nutshell, your brain wants to play the game because it's easy to open and play. he doesn't want to go to the gym because it's not fun, and you have to drive there, you have to go through an hour of pain, and you have to lift heavy. That's painful. So if your brain was to choose between these two things, it would obviously choose for video games because it's so much easier, and it just showed biological, physiological needs being met by your brain. It's completely normal. The reality principle, which is real life, the pleasure principle and the reality principle are two opposing forces that influence human behavior and drives us to seek immediate gratification like playing video games and avoid discomfort like going to the gym, while the reality principle compels us to consider the constraints and consequences of the external world. If you play a video game and your brain has fun, that's great. But if you don't go to your job because it's a hard job, then the external world will have consequences where you can't buy food and you starve. But your brain doesn't conceptualize that because it's simply not fun. Now, that's just Sigmund Freud's analogy of it. But if you guys want a free community, I'll leave a link in the description for that. Pretty much I want to help you guys in gaming and real life. Also, pick at least one of these things. You don't have to pick all of them, but pick one of them. I recommend doing the stopwatch timer step and timing yourself, and try to be strict with yourself on that 1 hour time limit. So implement this today or after this video and come back. So bookmark this, save this, whatever, and tell me how it helped you. Hopefully it did. Thank you for watching. See you guys next time. And I'm just going to check this little box because I did it. Cool. Thank you for watching. Follow the page, like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Thanks. Bye.